Gestation crates have been a hot, controversial topic in agriculture, news, and media in the last few years. Gestation crates are a type of confinement for pregnant sows meant to protect them and make it possible to care for them as individuals. Each sow can be fed a specific amount of feed to match her nutritional requirements. She doesn't have to compete with other sows for feed as in a group housing setting. Also, worker safety is protected with gestation crates as sows are contained and not running around. According to an article by Bronwyn Stevens and colleagues from Applied Animal Behavior Science Journal, when sows are mixed in groups 1 week after insemination, they have higher cortisol levels, higher rates of lameness, and more skin, head, and body injuries. Cortisol is a stress hormone, which indicates the group-housed sows had higher stress levels due to mixing and fighting. Thus, gestation crates were introduced to minimize sow aggression and stress. Gestation crates were initially meant to improve animal welfare, but now the pork consumer wants gestation crates eliminated due to their inhumane appearance. California Proposition 2, voted on in 2008, is a law which regulated the confinement of sows, chickens, and veal calves. Passage of this law required gestation crates to be eliminated. According to an article by Ballotpedia's editorial staff from Ballotpedia, Proposition 2 received a 63.5% approval rating and was passed. The popular support of gestation crate elimination in California shows the majority of the public, at least in California, wants gestation crates gone. This places a burden on hog farmers as they must decide what to do with their sows to please the public and keep their customers.
According to an article by Donald Lewis from the Pork Information Gateway, in most cases, transitioning away from farrowing crates will require construction of new buildings to meet welfare concerns. Also, according to an article from the Journal of Agriculture and Applied Economics by Glenn Thompson and colleagues, pork producers argue that gestation crates increase production efficiency, which has kept pork prices lower for consumers. However, because the crates limit mobility of the pigs, many people see them as inhumane. Although most of the public wants improved housing for sows, they must also be willing to pay more money for their pork. New barns are a large expense to pork producers. In order to please the public, new, expensive barns will have to be built. To compensate for this expense, pork prices will have to rise. Thus, the issue of eliminating gestation crates will affect the public by requiring them to pay more for their pork in order to compensate for the new construction of housing.
Many of the industry's swine operations have responded by phasing out their use of gestation crates and transitioning to group housing. Florian Posberg, the chief executive officer of Big Sky Farms Incorporated, said all of his hogs lived in group housing when he started with a 60-sow operation in 1975. We moved towards gestation stalls for health, welfare, and the well-being of our animals. Today, however, Posberg says, there's a pretty good chance that we won't build any new units with gestation stalls because the public winds seem to be blowing in that direction. In response to the general public's position on gestation stalls, the swine industry is realizing that in order to keep people from boycotting pork altogether, something has to change. Fortunately, more and more companies are implementing group housing into their farm's production system. Unfortunately, however, the switch to group housing requires that the barn be completely redone. Lee Whittington, manager of information services for the Prairie Swine Center, stated to renovate it overnight wouldn't be very feasible. That's why both Smithfield and Maple Leaf have given themselves a good long time to take a look at it. Those companies who are switching to group housing pay thousands of dollars to renovate their old barns or build completely new ones. Additionally, transitioning the barn takes a long time to complete. These factors result in an increase in pork prices. Despite the added expense, customers are demanding that the industry switch to the more humane and natural method for gestation housing.
The first major pork company to commit to switching to group housing for gestating sows was Smithfield in 2007. Their switch had been a gradual one. Almost 10 years later, in 2016, Smithfield reported that they still use gestation crates, but for a shorter time span of 42 weeks throughout the sow's time at the farm, as opposed to 70 weeks in previous years. By 2022, Smithfield's goal is to have completely phased out of the use of gestation crates. In fact, many companies have made a commitment to use 100% gestation crate-free housing by 2022. Among them, we find companies like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Safeway, and Kroger, all of which are known for the affordability of their menus. Getting these price-conscious companies on board with such dramatic change to the swine industry will be monumental in the global transition away from gestation crates. This goes to show how important humane living conditions are to commercial buyers as a result of the public's opinion of pork from the swine industry. On the other hand, two of the biggest names in food, Tyson Foods and Seaboard Foods, have not announced any concrete plans to even reduce their use of gestation crates.
There is pressure from animal rights activists for large producers to change how they house commercial sows. Currently, the most popular housing is gestation crates, and many consumers are against them. What the industry is trying to do is either create a housing system that appeals more to the public or better inform the public as to why gestation crates are used. Sows tend to be very aggressive when in gestation. These crates do not allow for a lot of movement, so sows don't have a chance to harm other sows or the handlers. In large productions, there can be up to thousands of pigs in gestation at a time, and handlers must take every precaution to make sure everything runs smoothly, and these crates are the easiest solution. Another solution for this is group housing. This type of housing appeals to the public because sows have room to move around comfortably and can interact with one another. Group housing is when 4 to 6 sows are comfortably housed together in small pens. According to the pig site, some producers have started providing enrichment, like toys, for their pigs in group housing settings. This has greatly lessened sow aggression. The main issue with group housing is that new buildings will have to be made to change from gestation crates to group housing.
My way, yeah, I'd lose my mind if I faced one day on my own. I know I was saved the night that she gave this drifter's heart a home.